Well, thank you, Matt, for the saddest story I've ever heard. What the hell? Hi, I'm Sara West, and Midnight with Tak and Matty is like a really hot drink on a really hot day.
G'day, and welcome to Midnight with Tak and Matty. Or is it? Because I'm not hearing an annoying little sound in my ears, the voice of Matthew Wilson. Yes, UA, cheer away. Oh, please. No, stop. No, thank you. More applause. Thank you. No, seriously. Oh, one more time. Thank you. Yes, no, I agree wholeheartedly. Yay, Matthew isn't kidding. No, I'm kidding. Or am I? I don't know sometimes. No, he had a family matter to attend to this week, so hasn't been able to be here. I say he's just not dedicated enough, really. And I have to apologise for him to you. So, make of that what you will. But you've got the best half of the podcast, honestly. And look, we provide this podcast to you for free. How lucky are you? And there is something that you can do, well, a few things you could do for us that costs you nothing, but it does mean the world to us. It does help the podcast. It does mean that we can keep bringing more of this stuff to you. And hopefully we can get other people to pay for the thing that you're enjoying. One of those ways is, if you're listening, to leave us a review on Spotify or Apple or whatever else you're listening. Those reviews are really helpful. You can't really review on YouTube, but you can leave a comment. You can subscribe. You can hit the hype button. Now, you might not know where that is, but if you're on your phone, you're watching on YouTube, you can swipe across where it says comments, and it allows you to hype. That helps us be seen by new people, apparently. I don't really understand it, but just do it, because it's just a button you click. It's pretty easy. And if you haven't followed or subscribed, do that. I mean, come on. That really means nothing to you, but means a whole lot to us. And thank you in advance for doing that. And thank you to everyone who has already done that. It means the world, like I said. And it means that we can keep bringing this podcast to you, which we really, really, really want to keep doing. Because we love it, and we love getting to talk to our friends and sharing that with you and giving you guys insights into their lives, our lives, acting, Neighbours, anything else. So do those things, and I'd really, really appreciate it. I am currently suffering with back pain like I've never felt before, which is really tough, thanks to our young Ari and all the picking up and putting down and picking up and putting down and picking up and putting down in all the different ways that I need to do that, which isn't so fun. And then also we've taken him to daycare twice, and he's come back twice sick, and given that to us, which you could probably hear in my voice right now. I'm sorry for everyone listening at home and having to listen to my voice as nasally as it is. So yeah, I see, that shows my dedication. I'm like that Matty Wilson. No. He's got some stuff to attend to. But thank you. And look, Sara West is on the podcast today. The amazing Sara West, who, before the little small amount of research I did before this interview, I had no idea the amount of work she's done and the awards. Well, mostly she's been nominated for, but that's pretty impressive. She has won some too. You'll find out all about awards. Actually, don't know if we go into too much about what awards she had won. We just talk about the idea of awards, which is quite funny. No, she's a beautiful soul, a beautiful actor. We couldn't be more happy to have her on Midnight with Tak and Matty. For now, maybe it'll become Midnight with Tak soon. That doesn't sound so bad. Midnight with Tak. Don't tell Matty I said that. But here she is, Sara West. Now, for everyone at home, Sara and I have been sitting here for an hour waiting for Matthew Wilson. How rude, Matthew. You owe Sara a deep apology.
It has actually been an hour. It flew by. It just went so quickly.
I've already sent the flowers. The food's on its way.
Oh, look at him. How could you be angry? How could you be angry at him?
These are the challenges of trying to juggle. Well, we're trying to do tech things with me for a start, but then kids. I had trouble trying to get the kids to sleep, and one wakes up, the other goes to sleep, the other one goes to sleep, the other one wakes up, and here we are. So we're an hour late. Well, I'm an hour late.
But you made it.
Thanks for waiting. I'm looking forward to this.
Welcome to the show, Sara West.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Sara, who plays Cara.
Who did play Cara? Are we still using present tense?
When I met you, trying to remember which freaking name was you and which was the character, because in my brain I was like, they're basically the same. And yeah, it took a while. Sara plays Cara. Sara plays Cara. Yeah. It took a while.
What was the toughest part about Cara, about playing Cara?
People thinking that Cara was my name. In the end, I think most people called me Cara Sara or Sara Cara, just as a safety.
Hannah Monson's trying to call me. Sorry.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Now he's picking up a phone
Now
call.
he's taking a personal,
she's
private
gotten
phone
through the
call.
Do Not Disturb, which means she's tried twice in quick succession. So I hope she's all right.
Well, I was saying when Sara and I first started talking that I was really excited for this chat because when I started to look up some things about Sara, and I can't believe you allow those pictures to be on the internet, Sara. Wow.
They're out there. You've just got to lean in.
Yeah, just go with it. OnlyFans coming soon. No. Now I've lost my train of thought. No, I was thinking that. Oh, this now that sounds creepy. There's so much I don't know about you. Because I only had 3 months really on set with you. And I felt like I knew you, but then when I thought about it, I don't feel like I know a lot about you. Where did the drama spark come from and all that kind of stuff? Were your parents instigators at all?
My mum kind of was an instigator, yeah. When I was in high school, I was a bit rough and ready. So my mum thought it would be a good idea to put me in drama classes that were in the city. So we lived quite away from the city. So on a Friday afternoon after school, I would have to catch the bus into the city, go to this 1 hour drama class, catch the bus back. And by the time I was home, all my friends had gone out and I couldn't catch up with them and be up to all the mischief that maybe they were up to. So that was a really good thing for me, but it also channeled my energy into something that ultimately I was really passionate about, but also gave me a much wider idea of the world, because I was going to these classes with kids who were totally different to anybody I'd ever met and came from different backgrounds that I had never encountered before. Where my family live is like a little bit of a bubble out in the suburbs of Adelaide at the base of the Adelaide Hills. It's a beautiful area. But it's the kind of area where everybody kind of knows each other.
Does this mean you were a bit of a naughty teenager?
Shit, yeah. Oh, shit, yeah.
Were you ever in the back of a paddy wagon? Or
I cannot confirm or deny.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've certainly got in the back of a paddy wagon on Neighbours. Let's just leave it at that. I was a handful, to say the least. I was a handful for my mum, and I think that she did such a good job in trying to channel my energy and frustratedness, I guess, at the time. Like, everybody's frustrated when they're a teenager, but to channel that into something as opposed to.
See, I feel like there was a tactic in the fact that the drama class was in the city too. So not only was she giving herself like 3 hours of not having to directly manage you,
Yes.
but also there was like that 2 hours or whatever of bus ride where you also couldn't get into much trouble except, I guess, on the bus. There's
Yes,
probably
and
a
I was
drama
on
class around
my
the corner
own.
you could have gone to.
100%. But I think the idea of getting me out of my small social network was also just as important as the classes themselves. Like it could have been like a taekwondo class or something. It could have been any kind of thing, but I just happened to really love it as well. And made really great friends there, and then latched onto that. And then I also had a really incredible teacher at high school, at a high school level, who really had a lot of time for me despite my being his most awful student. And he encouraged me, a drama teacher, and he encouraged me at the beginning of year 12 to really focus in on acting being a potential career for me, and made that like even just sparked that idea. And from I suppose where I came from, very practical careers are more likely. And so the idea that you could like go off and be an actor and be paid and make a living was so bizarre to me. And that he thought that I could do it really meant something. And he ended up being the person who gave me the application form for the university that I went to for acting. So I just had really great people like in my corner as well. So I was very lucky in that way to just find my feet exactly where I was meant to be. So when I got cast in my first professional theatre show straight out of drama school, I was playing a 14-year-old. So I went back to his classroom and hung out with his year 8 students for a little while, and apologized basically for being a teenager and the kind of teenager that I was. And he was he was really lovely and proud, and, he was a really brilliant teacher. Yeah.
Mm.
His name was Ian Code. He's since passed away, but he was so lovely and good to me.
Was it sort of like really hard to take your new hobby back into your original friend circle, and so you had to sort of get out of there, or were you able to convince them?
No, not really. I had a couple of other friends who were really into drama as well. So we all then kind of all got into drama in the high school together and got really into it and wanted to do well in those classes. Unfortunately, it was like the only class I did want to do well in. I finished high school when I was 17, so I got into university when I was 17. And it was a course that you could not defer because you auditioned to get in, and you were part of an ensemble. So when they were letting you in, they were thinking about how you were going to be in the ensemble as well. I think if I'd gotten into any other university course, I probably would have deferred for a year and may not have ended up going to university. So the school, I went to the Flinders Drama Centre in Adelaide, and that was really important for my my development as a person, as a human being, but as for my career as well. Like I really didn't really realize that I was meant to be there until I was 2 years into a 4-year degree, and again had brilliant teachers there who were very patient and generous with me.
Was your dad just as supportive as your mum through all of this, or was it just sort of your mum pushing you? It's hard to get both on board. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you've got both parents on board, then you're a bit of an asshole. Like, who's got both parents? Like, look, my dad is very proud of me, but I don't know that he fully comprehends what it takes to be in this industry. I don't know that anybody not in the industry really understands what it does take to be in the industry, but he comes from a very practical background, and I think if I had been a chippy or an electrician, we'd have a lot more to talk about.
When did it go from being this class that your mum sent you to being something you actually really wanted permission to go and do?
I think if I really think back, my mum put me in those drama classes because when I was a kid, I used to be desperate to watch the Oscars. Like, I loved to watch the Oscar ceremony when I'm from being like 4 or 5 years old. I remember like being really, really desperate and I was the only one in the lounge room watching the Oscars, like on our huge big box television. So I've always had this kind of thing about the industry and film in particular. I used to lie to my mum when I was in primary school about being sick so that I could stay home and watch the midday movie. So it would just be like me at home at 12 o'clock watching some old country western movie or something like that. And my mum would be at work. Like my mum and dad would both be at work. So it was like I just had the free reign to like watch movies all day. And I was so like that was me being naughty when I was a preteen. so it was like when I hit my teenage years, things got a little bit rocky. But I came back around. I came good. So when Ian Code, that drama teacher that I had, said that to me, it was more that I understood or like dreamt that it could be a real thing that I could really reach for and not feel silly. My mum will tell you that I've never lacked confidence. So I doubt that it doesn't feel like that he awoken this confidence in me. I think I've always kind of had that inherently within. So sometimes, well, more often than sometimes, too much. But I think it's helpful to be as confident as I am.
Because you've won an award for your directing, I read.
Yeah.
And when did you start making it as much as being in it?
Well, actually, I got into university as a director. I didn't actually get in as a writer. But the course that I went to was a 4-year degree, and for the first year, no matter what course you're doing, whether it be the directing or the acting course, you had to do the acting degree for the first year. I suppose so that you kind of learnt how to be, you can't direct someone if you haven't been directed, was their kind of standing, I guess. And I got into the directing course because I submitted some of my writing. So originally they said, we're not going to let you into the acting degree, but we think that you should do the directing degree. And I was like, great. If it means I'm not going to culinary school, then let's do this one. So I would have made an awful chef. So I got into the directing course, but did the acting degree for the first year. And then in the second year, I did both the degrees together because I loved the acting degree so much. But I did the directing course in addition to it. So it was crazy. So it was really intense and it went for 4 years. So it just meant that it was your whole life. And so I did all my electives in screen studies. So I learned how to write scripts and how to dissect a film in all these different ways. So I just fell in love with the whole process. The first professional acting job I got was almost straight out of uni. And I did a play at Belvoir Theatre Company, which was incredible because it was a main stage theatre company in Australia and it was my first job. But for that job, I had to shave my head. And so as soon as that job was finished, it was the most incredible experience that I've ever had still to this day. But as soon as that job finished, I was like unemployable because I had no hair. And I looked like a small child as well. I wasn't like cool and edgy with no hair. I was like sickly. Kind of because of that, I had some time on my hands and I had written this script. And my what did he teach us? I can't remember the title of what he was. He was like my screen acting teacher at uni. He offered to be the cinematographer on my first short film that I had written, and we went and shot that in Adelaide. And that was 40 minutes long. So it was super ambitious. We shot it in 2 weeks. We made it for like $4,000.
Is this a short film that you won an award for Best Director?
I won like Best Emerging Filmmaker for that award, for that short film at the South Australian Screen Awards, at the SASs.
Mm-hmm.
Which was really cool and really affirming, I suppose.
I was going to say that. I was like, is it too late to say congratulations? No, it never is.
Never. It never is. It was in 2012, I think.
I'm assuming you carry your trophies around with you in your suitcase wherever you go. So do you want to go grab them?
That's
and you
why
can
it's
show
so
off?
annoying to travel because my suitcase is so heavy with all the awards I've won. I even take them to like lunch dates and stuff. It's really tedious, but people love seeing them.
Yeah, the surprised look on their faces really you're like, it was worth it. Just for this look.
Yeah, and now they know that I'm award winning.
Even though you introduce yourself as, hi, I'm award-winning
Exactly.
actor and filmmaker Sara West.
Yeah.
I've always walked past trophy shops, and there's so many different kinds up there. I've wondered, I wonder if there's people out there that go out there and buy themselves trophies that they make up
Aw,
and just
that they
claim it.
just give
Because
themselves.
you could, yeah, you could
can get a
reinvent
trophy
your
for
past.
anything. I
There's
think
a short
I
film
think
in that.
I think we should be giving out more trophies. But hang on, I retract that statement because I'm not.
Yeah, I think
I'm
so.
Not,
Good.
I'm actually not
Good.
about like participation awards. Like no prizes for second place.
That's not the small country town attitude
It's
that
not
I'm,
how it
I'm familiar
works.
with. No.
It's not. It's not how it works.
So then who are you giving these trophies to?
But I think like we should be giving out trophies for like, hey, good job at hitting your 10,000 steps every day for a month. Or whatever
What?
it is. You know.
What? That's like that's actual just participation.
Hold on. No.
No, it depends. If someone at
No,
work is like
everyone's
has set a
mountain is
goal,
different.
yeah. If
Yeah.
everyone has set
That's
a goal, if someone
literally
has set a
the
goal,
argument for
that's
participation
literally
awards
the minimum.
is that everyone's mountain
But
is
what about
different,
Matt?
and so we have to like give them something.
No, because when there is a race and there is a very clear winner, you shouldn't just get a ribbon because you were
but
there.
one person's slower than the others, so their mountain is harder. It's harder for them to run 100 meters, so therefore they get a trophy because they made it to the end.
But it's not really how the world works. So what are you setting up for, really? Failure.
I'm just being devil's advocate here because you guys are saying there should be more trophies because everyone's mountain's different, and I'm saying, well, you're just picking
I'm
and
not
choosing
saying
which
everyone
mountains
should get a
are-
trophy. I'm just saying trophies are only given out for like sports, and in our industry, there should be
Oh, so you think-
trophies for other things.
No, there
Yeah.
are though. They're like every industry
should-
has their own awards. This is like
Do they?
ours is just televised.
Ours
That's
is
the
on
difference.
TV. Okay,
Yeah.
yes, I
So
see
you
my
want everyone
mistake
else
now.
to have televised awards. So the person who wins best accountant of the year,
Maybe.
which I mean, it'd be good advertising for them. That's essentially what our
There you go.
award
I
ceremonies are.
bet
It's just like
accountants would like to
advertising.
know who wins best accountant of
Would
the year.
they?
Mm.
Would they?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I would like to
Wait,
know,
wait,
and then
wait.
you could use that accountant.
You could make a trophy and just give it out to the person who's been the friendliest to you that day, and just walk up to a
Yeah,
random person. Thank
see?
you. You've been the kindest to me today.
Another
Here's
You
the
were the
trophy.
participation award.
kindest.
There's another short
participation
film in that. Mm. Oh fuck! Fuck! Oh, Tak! I have been working like a dog this week. My skin is just so dry. It's outrageous. What's going on with you? You're in Melbourne. How come your skin's glowing?
Well, I've got a secret. It's magic. It's Egyptian magic. You can use it on your face, your body, even as a hair treatment.
And where did you get this stuff from? This magic potion?
From our pals and sponsors at beautyboat.com. They sent you some as well, and for a limited time, our Bin Night audience gets 25% off Egyptian magic and their entire order by using the code BIN25.
Egyptian magic, huh? Oh. Oh. Wait a second. Did you say I can use this anywhere?
Well, yeah, but don't get weird. You can use Egyptian magic as a face moisturizer, an eye cream, scar treatment, hair mask, baby cream, shaving balm, and anything else you might think of. It's got beeswax, honey, bee pollen, royal jelly, propolis.
I'm going to stock up. So what do we do? Beautyboat.com. I put everything, add all into cart. Yes, that's going straight into my basket. And the code is...
BIN25. That's spelled BIN25. You get 25% off your whole order.
You guys can browse the website as there are so many incredible products, including the signature discovery boxes. Ooh la la.
Thank you, beautyboat.com.
Thank you, beautyboat.com.
Beautyboat is our official beauty partner here at Bin Night with Tak and Matty.
Hey, Tak, is there such a thing as OnlyHands? What? Oh, fuck. Fuck! A bee just stung me. So look at this. I got bee venom. A bee. Yeah, see can you see the stinger? Yeah, some of them, because I got see that's the venom sac? And the longer I leave it in there, the more it's going to irritate me. But that poor little girl is going to die now. There we go.
But why did she do that?
So Matt
Why?
kills
See
his
that?
chickens and now bees.
I'm renovating this room, and there's holes in the room. And sometimes when bees don't make it back to their hive before the sun goes down, they get attracted to light, hoping that they're going to find their way. So sometimes you'll see a bee hitting your window at night. It's because they're lost. And depending on where you live, there's a good chance that they're going to die. If they can make it through the night, they'll fly back to their home, which is very sad. And this poor bee has been attracted in by these lights, and I just copped it.
Well, thank you, Matt, for the saddest story I've ever heard. What the hell?
So maybe explain for Matt and everyone at home what I mean when I say, where did Liza come along?
I played Liza Minnelli in a, I think it's called a telly movie when they do when they do 2-part movie events, or it's like a TV show, but there's only 2 parts of it. So they play it in unison, they play it, one night after the other. A limited series maybe is what they call it, actually. So it was called Peter Allen, Not the Boy Next Door, and it was about the story of Peter Allen, who is the man that The Boy from Oz is based on, made famous by Hugh Jackman, I suppose, if you don't know who Peter Allen is. But Peter Allen married Liza Minnelli, and was produced by Judy Garland. So actually his life is, not just for that reason, but his life is incredible. And the story of his life is really incredible. He grew up in I want to say Armidale in New South Wales, rural New South Wales, basically, and started, really country town, small kid, and went on to have this phenomenal life and career. And so, yes, they made a limited series about him called Peter Allen, Not the Boy Next Door. And Joel Jackson played Peter Allen and did an incredible job. So if you haven't seen it for no other reason, go and watch it for Joel, because he's amazing. I was nominated for a Logie against Hannah Monson. Coincidentally,
I didn't know it was the same year.
It was the same year. We both lost together, so that was real cute.
There you go.
And that's kind of where Hannah and I met. And so it was that long ago that we I think we might have known each other. No, I think that's maybe where we met, when we were both up for that award. So I've known her for a long time, which was really cool to reconnect properly on Neighbours. But yeah, it was an amazing experience, and I haven't had another job like it. And I hope it wasn't once in a lifetime. I really don't, because it was
I don't think it will be.
such a cool thing to be a part of, and it had an incredible cast. Like I said, Joel Jackson played Peter Allen, and he did a phenomenal job. He learned all the songs, he learned all the dances. They actually put more of the songs and dances into the show because he was so good at performing them.
Yeah, wow.
And his voice was so beautiful. And Rebecca Gibney played his mum. Sigrid Thornton played my mum. She played Judy Garland and did an incredible job. I think she won. I didn't really know at the time if I was doing a good job or not. And when I got the role, even before I got the role, I was asked to audition for it. And I thought that my agent had made a mistake and that they wanted me to audition for Olivia Newton-John, because I just thought that made more sense. And they were like, no, they want you to go for Liza. And I was like, that's crazy. That's crazy. And then I did this tape, and then I went to London. Then I went overseas because I was in a play that toured to London. And so I didn't really think much else about it. And I was deep into a trip around Europe after the play had wrapped in London. my sister came over and we did a little backpacking trip around the place, around Europe. And so I remember I was staying in a 3-tier bunk bed in Copenhagen because we had no money. So I was like on the middle tier of this 3-tier bunk bed, and my agent called me and I said, "Oh, did you hear anything about that show? Like, can I go for Olivia Newton-John now that I've embarrassed myself trying to do Liza?" And they were like, "Well, funny you should ask. They're offering it to you." And I was like, "Excuse me? What?" And so I just assumed that everybody else said no. And like it blew my mind that they wanted me to do it. Anyway, so I was away. I was overseas. So I came back and really I had such a short amount of time. I had to move to Sydney because I think we'd told them that I was living in Sydney, but I didn't really have a base because I was going to do this show overseas and then I was traveling around. So I was kind of like playing it by ear. So I had to move to Sydney and find a house to move into, which ended up being one of my most longest friendships with this really lovely people whose house I'm actually staying in now. And yeah, it was one of the most amazing jobs, and I've made such long lifetime friends from it. So for the people, but for the role as well. But yeah, I was absolutely packing it while I was doing it. And I only played Liza for 14 days in over 3 months, very scattered, very sporadically. So I would come in when nobody was there yet because my makeup call was so long to make me look like her. It was like 3-hour makeup call to make me look like her. I would come in before anybody else was there and just see the makeup team. And then I would step off the makeup bus into breakfast when everybody else arrived, and I would look like Liza Minnelli. So no one really knew me at all, or who I was, or what I looked like even without all this stuff on. And so it was a hard job in that way because then I would go and everything would get taken off me and I would just like walk to my car with my backpack on and people would be like, "Who's that?" Like people would have no idea who I was because the makeup team did such a phenomenal job of making me look like
I'm just
her every
looking at
day.
the photo now. That
It's
is
nuts what they do.
brilliant. That
Yeah,
is
so
crazy.
when I have hair like this long, it's my hair that they dyed black, and when I have short hair, it's a wig.
What a way to
Um,
fully immerse yourself into the role.
Yeah, it was amazing. The nature of the show had us improvising a lot as well, in terms of like there was a lot of like B-roll stuff where, they would use as ways to intercut through scenes and stuff. They would cut to like B-roll of Liza and Peter, or Peter on his own, like, riffing with the camera and being behind the scenes. So we had to be able to speak how they spoke
That's so tough.
with a random cue.
Does that mean you can give us some of it now?
The way that I used to get into the accent is literally I would just go, "Oh, Peter." And it was just like the way that she would say his name helped me kind of get into the anchor of it. Yeah. But yeah, I played her so intermittently as well that I found it really hard to not feel like I was going there and doing something so silly and stupid and then going home. And, there's also not a lot of time on any show, but a show like that where there are so many layers to it for praise from anyone. And so I would like finish my day before anybody else, before the show, before the day wrapped most of the time. And I would just like get dressed and go home, and there would be no like, "Hey, really great work today. Like you were brilliant." There was none of that. So I would get home and just be like, "I'm embarrassing myself every day and it's got to be on television."
And what did you do with that energy? Did you then turn that into working harder?
I had to really. I had to just really trust my instincts and my gut a lot. But it really wasn't until the wrap party that I spoke to the director, who was like, "You were amazing." And so then I wasn't scared for the show to kind of come out. But yeah, I think most of the time there's so little time to rely on someone else to build you up. So a lot of the time you kind of have to do it yourself. So
it's a very unique job we have where we feel that people should pat us on the back for doing our job.
Yeah.
But
Well,
that
you just want to
ultimately-
know that you don't look silly as
Well,
well.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that you're so vulnerable on camera, no matter what you're doing, whether it's like, I think it's far more vulnerable to try and be funny on camera than it is to be emotional. I would rather cry all damn day than try and sell a joke on screen. Like, I would love to do more comedy. I've only gotten to do a very, very, very small amount of comedy. And I would love to do it because I'm so naturally funny as well.
Here
She
we
says
go.
after telling us she'd hate to do a joke on screen.
But like a scripted joke that you have to say over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it might be funny the first couple of times you say it to the crew, but then as soon as the crew are like, you're like, oh my God, how many
It all
more
boils
shots
down
are
to
there
trust,
where I have to
right?
say this one thing? Yeah, it's so vulnerable. Like, the job that we do is honestly so vulnerable. So,
And it doesn't matter how well you tell a joke on set. It matters how well they construct it in the edit. Because
and that's
the
exactly
timing
right.
is so
If you are
key,
not
right?
liked, they can absolutely make you look shit at your job.
Well, people must
So-
like you because you've done pretty well on the accolades front. So
What else we got? Give me more
there was an
accolades.
actor of some kind in there, wasn't there?
Yeah.
There was a what?
An actor of some kind.
Yep, I
Would have
lost that
been-
one as well. No prizes for second tack. What did I say?
Hey, look, you know, at least you're getting in the top 6 nominations there because Maddie's won sexiest carpenter.
No. Best and fairest 9 years in a row. Rugby
Oh.
league. Yeah.
Now that's something they give out too many
That's a
trophies for.
participation.
I won a
That's a
perpetual
participation
trophy.
award.
Yeah,
The best
that
and
I can-
fairest.
I can speak to too many
That
trophies
kid's not
for
very
sports.
good, but he's really nice. We should give him something.
I was nominated for an actor award for, I think it must have been best lead actress for a short sorry. I was just going to say supporting, but actually it was lead because I was the lead. For a film I'm so proud of called Don't Tell, who 6 people in Australia saw. I don't know if you were one of them, but yeah, I am really proud of that film. It was a story about, but it's a you know, it's a hard watch in terms of its content. It's about the first woman who took the Church of England to court for trigger warning, sexual abuse that she suffered at the hands of the Catholic Church when she was a child. And she took them to court and exposed all their lies. And then that is why the working with children laws exist in this country because of that case. So she's an incredible woman. Her name's Lyndall, and she was a big part of the process of making the film. So that was equally, you know, that was so special a job as well. That was kind of like the same as in terms of being so grateful for. It's like that job and my very first theatre job I ever got. Like I've never been, more grateful to be part of those stories. I had such a good run. When I first came out of drama school, I did a lot of theatre and I did brilliant theatre. I got to go to London with Belvoir, like I said. My first theatre show was with Belvoir, which was a different show to that one. I worked at Griffin Theatre Company and the Sydney Theatre Company. I worked at Malthouse down in Melbourne. I had an incredible run of theatre shows. And then I started doing TV. And my first TV show was with Rebecca Gibney. And I wasn't her daughter in the show, but I played a kind of like surrogate daughter character to her. And that was really amazing to learn from someone so generous. And then once I started doing TV, it was hard to go back to theatre because you have to commit to it so far in advance. So once I started doing TV, I did a bit of that for a while, and then I did a few films. I think I did a film, and then I did Liza. No, I must have done 2 films. I must have done a film called Bad Girl, which I did with Samara Weaving, and then I did Liza, and then I did Don't Tell, I think.
Now, we've got to come to Neighbours because otherwise Peeping Tom would get angry at us.
Producer Tom.
You have something to say about it?
He will.
Well, like, so you like looking at your credits, right? Obviously, COVID happens and that impacts everyone's credit list. But you're on this kind of incredible trajectory of work that you're building up. And often people with that trajectory aren't going to want to do something like Neighbours that pulls them away from
Mhm.
that snowball that they're building. So what drew you to the role and coming on the show?
Oh, that's a good question. I was
Thank you.
I did have a bit of a trajectory, I suppose. Even during COVID, I was very fortunate to go and shoot a TV show called Troppo up in Queensland that actually pulled me out of Sydney and when I wasn't in lockdown. So I was so lucky also to be a part of that show. Um, Really, when I was looking at doing Neighbours, I was at a crossroads in my life where I had been in Sydney for 13 years, having moved from Adelaide immediately after finishing university. And when I moved to Sydney, I didn't know anybody. So I built community in Sydney. Um, and I was at a point where I really needed to leave Sydney. Like, I loved my community of friends and they are still so important to me. But a lot of the people who I know and love aren't even in Sydney all the time because we're also transient and work all around the place. So I needed to get out of Sydney, which was a big call, like a big draw card for me, to be honest. So I said to Andrew at the time that if I was ever going to move to Melbourne, now would be the time. And he was like, "Oh, really? That's good to know." And I was like, "No, really, like I need to get out of Sydney, so now's the time." Um, I mean, I think I was also just drawn to the challenge of doing my job every day and like getting it's such a privilege, even when you're the lead character on a TV show. You don't necessarily do your job every day, and it's such a lovely job
Certainly
to
not for
have.
the entire year, basically.
Oh, no, no way. I mean, at most for 3 months. If you are a lead character of a 6 or 8 part television show, which is what we make in Australia at the moment, you're making that show, you're shooting that show at max for 3 months, unless it's Home and Away, Neighbours, or NCIS. There's nothing else like those shows at the moment.
Well, there's only 2 of those now. One of them's gone, hasn't it?
Exactly. Um, and so, like, the privilege of getting to do your job every day, I think, was a big draw card as well, and I was excited about um, the character and the family that she was a part of, and being part of that on Australian television, was very cool. Um, yeah, I think those things are what mainly drew me in, and obviously just being a part of a legacy, I think was, was attractive to me, I guess. Like, I don't think I had any, like, "Oh, I'm gonna go do this." Like, there wasn't that for me. It was more of like, "Oh, I have to leave my friends and move to a state again where I don't know anybody really." I had to I had to, um, move apartments, I had to move all my stuff. Like, it was quite a task to get here in the time that they needed me to get here in. Um, it was quite quick in the end, but yeah, those were the main draw cards, I guess.
You pick up another job. Usually you've got, well, if you're lucky, you got the whole script. You can see exactly what's ahead of you. But with this, it's kind of like you get a glimpse of the character, and then whatever happens after that, it's in your contract. You got to do it.
Yeah,
Dance
I mean,
monkey.
yeah, I don't think I had clocked that entirely. I was kind of like, okay, these are the bones of my character, and I knew what the show was. I knew that I was never gonna be doing anything like gratuitous or like I was never gonna have to get my tits out, but like I knew what I was signing up for in that way. Yeah, it was different for you guys, but I knew. I don't know. And it offered me something different at a point in my life where I was really ready for it as well. Like, I was ready for some stability. Um, and I was like, I loved the idea of getting to do what I do every day. I hadn't played a lead role for a little minute where I'd played great roles and been in great productions, but I certainly hadn't been in something for a while where I was there every day, for a 3-month period. So I was just ready to do that, I think, as well. And I was ready to play a mother because I have hit up against this thing for so long that I don't necessarily look my age. And so I was like, if they cast me with these grown-ass children, people will have to just believe that I am this age. And then, of course, they had to throw me a 40th on the show, and we had to, kind of talk about it all the times because people thought that we were a share house when they first announced us. And so that became its own whole thing. But
Oh, yeah, right. They thought you were a share. That's right.
yeah.
I am not
But yeah.
14.
I'm not 14, I swear. Yeah, I remember there was an extra one day who asked Riley if he was my love interest or something. And Riley was like, ew.
Not the worst
No.
problem to have, Sarah.
Ew.
Ew, no.
Oh my God.
Excuse me, I was also like, ew, no. It's like a young man. But yeah, I suppose, everybody's got their cross to bear.
You guys only knew each other for such a short time. Felt like a lot longer than that.
Yeah, it did. We we really launched as a really cohesive family. It felt like we had a really good connection from the beginning, and I think that was the main bit of feedback. They were really worried about the fans accepting a new family, but actually we were accepted really quickly, so that was really lovely.
And not just a new family, but a family with 2 mums as well,
Well, I think that is also part of the reason why people thought that Riley and Naomi were the parents for a little minute, because
Riley and Naomi were the
just
parents.
because they couldn't. It wasn't about how I looked or how
Making
he looked or
yourself
whatever.
younger and younger here.
No, but they didn't initially fathom that there was 2 mothers. So they were
Yeah.
like, wait,
Yeah,
what is this
yeah,
family dynamic? And you're like, it's very it just is what it is. So that was also one of the best things about just being part of that family and having that family be on Australian television, representing queer families as they are, which I think necessary.
I just love watching you sort of coach the boys and like as a character and a person, like as Sarah, but just sort of coach Riley and Marley. Geez, they're good boys, aren't they?
They are. Yeah, it was like, if you don't stand on your mark, do you know that you won't be in focus? And then it doesn't matter how good your acting is because they won't be able to use it. Yeah. No, they were brilliant. It was such a joy to watch them kind of grow and trust themselves as the show went on and get better and better. And I mean, they were brilliant at the beginning, but by the end, they're both very special guys. And I'm excited to see what they do next in life or in the industry or whatever it is. I'm excited for both of them. Yeah. I'm always trying to think of people who, not that I'm like giving out jobs. Like if I was giving out jobs, trust me when I say I would be giving them to myself first. Okay.
This is that shit your mum was talking about, isn't it?
No prizes for second, okay? Like number one over here. But I'm always trying to think about like really lovely people and great people who I've worked with before. And I just think that what's the point of making anything if you're not doing it with people who you really love and admire and think highly of their work and everything like that. So I'm always trying to think of how to work with people who I think are brilliant. So
no, I remember leaving Neighbours and just looking around the room and thinking, I want to work with every single one of these people again because you could just see like how valuable, how talented, how skilled every single person is.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'd love to play Lloyd's sister. I'd love for us to play brother and sister in something.
We need the buddy cop spin-off.
Oh, I know.
Wouldn't that be great?
That was such a sad thing about the show ending up, is that I just love so much the trajectory that Cara was on with her new kind of career path and the possibilities of where all those storylines could go, and working with Lloyd and, what that would entail. Like, I loved working with, God, we were so stupid. We were so stupid.
How was hearing about the ending for you? You know, were you pretty set to stick around for a while? Like, was it something that devastated you, or were you like, okay, just on to the next one now, because you've had such a career already anyway.
I mean, I was certainly sad. I was so, so sad for the people who had been there for so long and who were terrified at going out into a gig economy that maybe they hadn't been familiar with for a long time, or a while at least. I think the people who came on board, certainly in my case, when I came on board with the Amazon reboot, it was always um it was a given that we had 2 years and then we'll see how it goes in terms of the network being supportive of the show. And so it wasn't a huge shock when it was a shock in that it's a number one show in the UK on Amazon Prime, like every week, and that it had such a massive following and it was cherished by so many. So it was a shock that they didn't continue it just for that reason. But it wasn't the shock that I imagine it would have been for the people who were there the first time it got announced. And so it was always kind of like in your mind that this might only be for 2 years. And if that's the case, what a gift to have been a part of it for however long you got to be a part of it. But yeah, I was certainly sad. I was sad for myself and not being able to continue Cara's kind of trajectory. But yeah, just really worried for all the jobs that that were lost and the industry know-how that is now like scattered and potentially retiring when they were such good teachers for crew that came out of schools and would otherwise not be able to walk onto a set the way that you could at Neighbours. They were so open to allowing opportunity and providing patience. They were entry-level positions that don't exist in the industry. And so I'm not sure where people get their start now. Like, Neighbours is famous for, having all these actors that have come from it and all these, like, the accolades that are given to the actors that have come from the show. But actually, like, Neighbours' legacy lies in the crew and what they've managed to go on and do and the ways that they've been able to impact the industry in such a positive way. Like, that's the show's biggest calling card, and the show and the saddest reason that it's been cancelled, because it doesn't. Those opportunities are gone and nothing is going to replace them. And I think that is going to be felt by the industry, and maybe the impact of that might not be known in the industry for a couple of years. And then when it is known, it's going to be too late. So I hope, I hope the show finds a way to come back, but I don't imagine the format will come back. And that's kind of the beauty of it. That's the beauty of the show. So in a different format, I'm not sure that it has that same spark, but we'll see. Hopefully it does, if it does.
Buddy cop spin-off.
Yeah, buddy cop spin-off.
That's where the
Me and
hope
Lloyd
is.
just
I'd buy
arresting
that.
everyone who was on the show.
A new Blue Heelers, but with a real comedy edge.
Wouldn't you love like a reboot of Blue Heelers or All Saints or Water Rats? Oh my God, to be a water rat.
I'm seeing
that would literally
Blue
blow my mind.
Heelers. This is with you and Lloyd, Sergeant Rodwell for everyone out there. I'm seeing Blue Heelers meets the IT crowd.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
No Activity.
But see, it's comedy. It's scary. No, I want to be
That's why you gotta-
serious.
So
Yeah.
do
But there's awards
you
at play.
shy away from things you're afraid of? Then you stay confident in the things that
No.
you feel safe in.
I still played Liza Minnelli, so I definitely don't shy away from things. I think,
Someone told you to earn you an accolade, so you were like, "Oh, okay."
I don't know. I think if there was something I truly thought that I couldn't do, I wouldn't do it. But it would have to be because I knew in my heart that I wasn't the right person I wasn't the person to represent that character or that story. But
Is there a skill or something that you would get? I'm just not going to do that. Like big wave surfing, if I had to do a role and I had to actually big wave surf, I
like
don't
not they
know.
wouldn't get you a double.
Yeah, I'd be like, I No, I don't know if I could do that. That's
People lie
like,
and say like, yeah, I can ride a horse. Yeah, I can surf. Blah blah blah. Like they lie all the time, and then they get to set and they're like, shit, now I have to actually do it.
yeah, I kind of got sprung on that as well, but that's a
Yeah.
different story. No, but yeah, is there anything like that?
I mean, I cannot sing. I cannot sing. So when I played Liza, another woman, Angela Tui, dubbed my vocals.
Oh, really? Well,
So
yeah.
then on the day when I recorded it and I'd learnt how to lip sync really well, obviously, to her backing track, her track. But on the day they were like, "Oh, we've got you in the cans. You could have done this." But I was like, if I had known that, I don't know that I would have been able to do the scene, because singing
Yeah,
in
that's
front
right.
of people, like, I find gives me crippling anxiety, just the idea of having to do that. So, I mean, I know what I'm good at, and singing is not it. So if I
Well,
don't think I'm
apparently it
going to be,
is. So, I mean, I
but
feel like there was like a humble brag. Like, I'm not really good at singing, but then when people hear me sing, they're
it
like,
was
wow,
more
you're
like
amazing.
We should keep that.
it was more like a character voice though, and the song was not like a ballad.
You know what happened to Hugh Jackman? Well, apparently, this is a story I was told. Because he didn't think he could sing. And he went and he was seeing a singing coach. And they're going through songs or whatever, trying to learn to sing. And then one day, the coach sort of sang the bit. And then Hugh Jackman sang it. And the coach was like, oh, just do that. And he's like, well, I just did I just did you.
Oh, he just mimicked him or something.
And he's like, well, then do that.
It's that, yeah.
And now he's Hugh Jackman. So
And now he's Hugh Jackman.
maybe that's the trick. You just need to essentially mimic the singer that you're trying to sound like.
I am in terms of accents and things like that, I can mimic well. But I just have no pitch. I can't hear it. I don't know the difference at all. And it's okay that I can't. It's okay that I can't sing. I'm actually okay that I can't sing. I don't need you to tell me that maybe I could. Maybe wait, am I Hugh Jackman? Maybe I need to go to singing lessons because I might be Hugh Jackman. That's not me.
So is there anything on the horizon for you?
I am writing. I won't say the name of it because it hasn't been released yet. But my friend and I are adapting a book together that we are turning into a feature film. So that's been really lovely. We got some funding from Screen Australia to do so it meant that we could be paid to do it and not be stressed.
What genre is it in?
Thriller. It's quite a dark thriller, actually. So my writing style spans many a genre. This one is a really dark thriller, but most of what I write is like really heartfelt comedy, surprisingly, even though I don't gravitate to it. And then goes all the way into kind of not horror. I'm not really interested in writing horror, but kind of, yeah, something like a little bit off center is kind of where my real sweet spot. Like family drama is my real sweet spot. So I'm always trying to kind of mix all those where I can. The book's really great and I'm super excited about that project. So that's what I'm focused on for the next little minute, and I've got a couple of other little projects. I'm starting to think about the format of storytelling because what I find so frustrating about writing anything or directing anything is that, and acting in anything, is that it takes so many people for you to create the thing. So sure, you can go and write a script, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be able to actually make it. It's going to be the story that you want to tell because it's a film. So you have to ask all these people favors. You have to like wait all these years for funding or not, or, you know, it takes so long. But with prose or a book, you can just sit and write it and it's created, and then it can just be out in the world. So I've started to think about the format the different formats that are available to,
And how you can get more control.
yeah, ultimately that's what I want. Control. I mean, anyone who's ever met me knows that that is true. So
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
just no,
Stay back.
there's just no denying it. So it's just better to lean in, you know?
What were you saying before we started recording that you wanted to come across as?
Super approachable and authentic.
No, I certainly think you've achieved that. I think people will get a good idea of how lovely you are as a person, listening to your
Oh,
stories.
thanks.
I mean, so
I
many
feel
of
like
them.
I just was like, these are all the great things I've done. Let
that's
me talk
literally
about
we're not
them.
gonna.
That's the point of the
We're not here
show.
to try to pry
Okay, good.
open all your deep-seated wounds and bring out all your dark stories. But if they head in that direction, we're definitely open to hearing them. But
No,
but
ask
hearing
me
about
what reality show I want to be on. As a lifelong fan, I have always thought about whether or not I'd go on Survivor. I think the answer is that I would do it. I think if you'd asked me maybe 10 years ago, I would have been like, no, it'll ruin my career. And now I'm like, give me the buff. I want the crown, you know? But I've always said that I think I'll get voted out first or I will come second.
Because they think you're a threat.
No, I think I'll get voted out first because I'll be underestimated. Or I will come second because I am very strategic and very numbers based, but I can be, because my friendship circle is small, I can, well, I think people it takes a little while to get to know me, to really get to know me. I can have my wall up a little bit. And I think in an environment like that where you have to, trust people really quickly, maybe that's not helpful. But yeah, I think I might also come second just because like people would be like, she's a great game player, but like she's also annoying or something. Like there'll be something more be something nicer about whoever I was sitting there with. Because I also don't think I could, in my heart of hearts, go to the end with someone I didn't think deserved the win. So I would be sitting there in my world with someone who I thought deserved it as well.
You have thought about this so much.
I've thought about it so much, honestly. I've been such a Survivor fan my whole life, like American Survivor. I grew up with it and have really thought about it my whole life. So I would definitely do Survivor. I would definitely do the block. I've got like real interest in home renovating and it's a genuine interest as opposed to just something that I would like go and do for fun. But I would also do the Traders. Have you been watching the Traders?
I haven't, but I know it. Like in the UK, it's massive.
Okay, it's incredible. The American one's really good. The UK one is really good. Highly recommend. I haven't done the Ireland one yet because honestly, I've just been watching too many of the other ones. But highly recommend. I would very much do the Traders. This is my audition video.
Actually, no, that's something I wanted to bring up as well because you did something that I did a bit of as well, of taking photos behind the scenes.
Mhm.
Where does photography sit in the world of Sara? Is it just something you like to do, or is it something you'd pursue as well?
It is something I really like to do. I would like to pursue it. Sometimes I just wish that some of my interests were like not financially risky, or like relied on the creative industry, like why aren't I into accounting? That would be
You
great.
said you're good at numbers,
I
right?
know,
So,
I'm so into numbers. So why aren't I like interested in investing? That would be so helpful. But I'm not. I'm not.
you have to find the right type of investing because there's many forms out there, and there's probably one that would.
Don't get him
even
started,
renovation
Sara.
itself.
No, I
is,
feel like I've started something. But yes, I would like to. I mean, I do love photography. I think what I love about photography is the same thing that I love about writing, in that you can create something like potentially on your own and put it out there and it be out in the world. You don't have to wait for anybody to kind of help you make it, or teams of people who have to come on board to make your vision come to life. You can kind of you can do it on your own depending on the kind of photography that you like. But I had such a lovely time taking all the behind the scenes photos while I was on Neighbours, and I wish that I had started when I first started on the show. I don't know why I didn't. Probably because it was our contracts that we're not meant to take photos on set, but I did it anyway because I started it when the show was announced that it was finishing. So I just thought it would be a really lovely thing to do, and I made it a mission to take a photo of, to try and get a photo of every crew member, which I almost got. I almost got everybody, but a lot of the writing team finished a lot earlier than I anticipated, and all of that kind of stuff. So
Writers are hard because a lot of them aren't ever
yeah, and they
in
work
the
from
building. Yeah.
they work from home, or they
Right.
work from wherever they are, and even the catering team was really hard to get photos of. I got a couple of them, but
Most of them are in the kitchen the whole time. You can't just
yes.
randomly walk in there going click, click,
Well,
click.
exactly, and you're also on set,
Yeah.
so but yeah, I had a lovely time doing it, and I'd love to be able to do something with those photos at some point. So we'll see. Yeah, I would like to keep doing it though.
So you want to direct everyone to your Instagram. What is your Instagram handle?
Oh, that's a good question. I think
Mm.
I think it's Sara J West. I think there's a J in there. There's a little tribute to Neighbours finishing up there, and I did really manage to get some beautiful photos. Every time I saw Jackie, I was like, whoosh. And she was so gracious in that she let me take a photo of her every single time that I asked, even when she was definitely not in the mood. And I had to literally like push Beck out of the way of the lens every time she was on set as well. So,
That checks out.
there's a million photos of Rebecca Olmaloglu, as there should be. So yeah, it was really lovely thing to kind of put my energy into at a time that felt really kind of like sad and tumultuous while we were finishing up, and no one really knew how to be. It just felt like this really lovely way to thank the show for letting me be there, really. It was good.
Mm.
No, you've been amazing, Sara West. And I can't wait to hear from you in the future with all the amazing work you're going to be producing, whether on screen, behind the screen, or in a book, or in a photograph.
Thanks, guys.
Ah, Sara West. I hope you got a lot out of that episode. She is truly lovely. Also, do definitely go check out her photos on her Instagram. They are really great. I've actually still got a bunch of photos that I really, really, really should post. But maybe if this podcast gets enough subscribers and followers, then I'll start posting them. Maybe I'll even share them on the Tak Matty. Maybe when we finally set up a Patreon or something, they could be exclusives for the Patreon members. That's a pretty good idea. Let us know if you'd join the Patreon just to be able to see those photos. There is a lot. The reason why I haven't shared them is because there's so many. I literally whittled down 5,000 to 1,000, and I'm still struggling. I meant to have sent them to all the crew, and most of those is actually from the first time the show was, the second time technically, the show was cancelled back in, what year was it? I don't even know, 21? Whatever. I don't know. Anyway, how good was Sara West? So enjoyed. I wish I got to work with her more. I really hope I get to work with her on something else again, because she's such a beautiful soul and a fantastic actor. Now I've got to leave you with two things. One, potentially a controversial opinion. I think lip balm makes you need more lip balm, because I haven't used lip balm for a while. And have I needed lip balm? No. But when I've used lip balm, I've needed more lip balm. Just food for thought. Just saying. Just saying. Very interesting. Stupid. And oh yeah, once again, please hype this, review it, subscribe, follow. It's literally free, and it does mean a lot. Do it for us. Do it because I'm sick and I'm here for you. I'd prefer to be in bed right now. But I'm here because I guess I don't prefer to be in bed right now. But just do it. Just do it. It's not hard. It's like push with your finger, click with your mouse. I don't know what you do on your TV, but push a button on your remote or something. Yeah. Anyway, cheers for that. And I've got to leave you with a joke. Fortunately, David Trotter contacted me on Instagram. You may or may not know David Trotter, but he's a fan of Neighbours. Has always been a big big positive fan of David and Aaron and their journey, and he's always sent lovely messages to me. And one of them recently was how much he loved the pod, and he gave me a joke. So if you don't like it, you can hit David Trotter up. I think it's Trotter UK on Instagram, and let him know how bad the joke is. But I think it's not bad. It's not bad at all. So here's the joke. I tried to tell my bin a joke. It couldn't take it. What do you think, bin chickens? A good one, a bad one? Let us know in the comments. We love you. Support us, because we're trying to support you. Auf Wiedersehen. See you next bin night. Au revoir. Sayonara. Ciao. Bye.